Hey guys, gals, and impies. So today's a little bit something different. So as of recently, there's been a sale on Akai slash Air plugins for the MPC. You have to you just trust me that there's an MPC key 37 with this screen right here. This thing is really hard to film, so I'm doing this kind of like in a dark setting so you can easily see it. I know the contrast is a little blown out, but you'll see what I'm going to be doing on this. But yeah, I got the MPC plugin collection, and then I got Air Ether. So the plugin collection comes with the OPX4 synth, which I'm going to be doing a separate video on eventually. I ended up selling my Op6 because I actually like the OPX4 so much in it, but I mainly got the package for Fabric XL and Studio Strings, and they've been fantastic. I would say that I would have gotten it for Stage Piano, but I had Stage Piano before, and it's an excellent plugin. So I've been using my MPC mostly for doing a lot of my actual music work because it's just so powerful. It's like probably one of the best bang for bucks workstation out there you can possibly buy. I don't know of a better one for this kind of price, and the key bed is actually phenomenal on the Key 37. I know some people don't think that, but I really think it's one of the better key beds. I wish I would have tried the 61 and seen if that works out a little better, but the 37 is so compact and everything. All right, anyway, so what this video is about is the Air Ether plugin. I ended up getting it on the sale too, so the plugin collection was $99, which is really cheap because I think the plugin collection's like $600 or $700 by default, which is just outrageous for what it is. And then the Air Ether plugin by itself is like $99, but it was actually down to $30. So I'm just like, might as well give it a try. The only thing that I don't like on the MPC is it has never had a good reverb. I think the built-in reverbs, they're not even passable. I wouldn't use them. It's like I've always used external reverbs, and now the Air Ether reverb has finally come to this. It's been a standalone like effects for other like DAWs and things like that for a while, but it's finally come to the hardware. And I will say it absolutely sounds phenomenal, and that's what we're going to go over in this video today. But first, let's go into the Fabric XL here. Oops, I don't want to do that. I want to go. You can't choose. Okay, that's interesting. Anyway, you can't use the knob to choose an instrument. You actually have to click. Okay, so let's go Fabric XL. You can choose the knob in here. Oh, I guess this just goes through like all this stuff. The knob is a little slow to go through because I guess it's actually loading the presets. Anyway, so what we're going to do is let's go out here. Now we have Fabric loaded. Let's press edit. We're going to go over here to preset. We're going to click that. We're going to go all the way down to init. I'm using the big knob. The init patch is basically just a triangle wave. It sounds like this. And we're going to make a harp. I recently released a song, and I will link it obviously in my description to at least Spotify. And I used the MPC for everything, and I used Fabric XL. And I think I just used Fabric XL for the entire thing, and it was just so phenomenal. Anyway, so we're going to make that harp patch I made in there. We're going to go over to oscillators, and instead of oscillators, we're going to choose strings. We're going to go all the way down here. We're going to go ahead and choose harp. It's super responsive when you're doing it there and not just flipping through presets, because when you flip through presets on most instruments on the MPC, it actually loads the preset like right then and there, so you can preview it quickly, but you know, you have that lag. Okay, so we have that, and we want to go over here. We want to add some release to it. And this is one of the better sounding multi-sampled harps I've ever heard. I like it, and I used it in my last song. Okay, it's panned to the left quite a bit, so we can go up here. We can change that, so let's do that. It's here. Let's go into the mix. And I think we need to move it to the right a little more, so let's do that. So let's do this. Okay, that sounds pretty good, I think. Doesn't that sound great? Yeah, I think that's gorgeous. Let's stop playing with that. Let's make sure. I think by default, if I go in here to the what is it? The delay and reverb. Yeah, they're off by default. So there's a little bit of ambiance in the actual recording to this multi-sampled harp, like some air, I guess you would say, for the room, some room ambiance. And it sounds nice. It sounds very realistic. Obviously, it's a sample. It better damn sound realistic, right? But I think with that, let me turn up my volume, at least in my mixer for this. Yeah, okay, I can hear it a little better. Yeah, it sounds very good, and that's a good amount of release, I think. All right. So let's go over to the mix section. I clicked the mix button down here. You can't see that because, again, this is really hard to film without having the screen like reflect everything in the damn room. So what we want to do is we want to go over here to effects. Now we're in effects. We're going to add, let's just hear the air reverb that you get by default. Right? It's not great. That's what I want to share. I always complain about this, so I'm not going to go through and try to make something that sounds good because I can't get it to sound very good. But some of the presets sound, you know, as good as I can usually make them. Let's use Ambient 2, for instance. Yeah, okay, so that's about what I would use. So let's turn the mix down. I don't know why the mix is up to 100 in this. You can hear the crappiness, though. Let's turn down the pre-delay. It's a little too much time, too. Okay, less mix. And I know we have like high-low frequency controls, and you have the time controls kind of like you have on a Lexicon 224, where you have the decay based on your high and low frequency. I think isn't it like low and mid on an actual 224? But all right, I'm gonna stop talking really quick and just listen to the reverb on this. Yeah, so that's ghastly. That is just god awful. You can hear the comb filtering. You can hear the feedback network that's happening in it. And there's really no good diffusion characteristics in that. And there's definitely no way of adding any kind of like modulation to that without adding another plugin or something. And it doesn't do the right kind of modulation anyway. So it just sounds so static and lifeless and bad. And that's one of the better built-in reverbs. There's like a large hall reverb or something like that. That's like an air large hall. It's not any much better. Just trust me on that. I don't like them. But then Air Ether came out, and I got it again for $30. I don't think it's worth more than $30. I think honestly Akai should have made up for the mistakes of having the terrible reverbs in there and just gave it to you as an update, as goodwill for, you know, how bad InMusic is as a company and probably what they're going to do with the Moog. But, you know, we're not going to get that. It's not how capitalism works. So I'm going to go ahead and go in here to do that. You have to go over to inserts. You go here. I'm going to go up to this one. I'm going to delete that one. We're going to go over to, it is Air Ether. And by default, it's going to be really obnoxious. So what we're going to do is we're just actually going to go, Blast is such an obnoxious algorithm. Or not algorithm, but preset. We're going to go to the init. See how I got to the init? Okay, cool. So this is the init. And this is actually surprisingly okay. It's not good because we need to do some tweaks to it, but it's surprisingly okay. We have modulated tails, we have smooth tails, we have decent diffusion characteristics, we have nice ambient reverb. The comb filtering is pretty non-existent, I was going to say. There's a little bit to it. There's a little bit of high frequency ringing in there. It's not too bad, but, you know, we can mess with that. And there's some pitch stuff happening too. Okay, so there you go. That's just with the init patch. And there's so much you can do with this. It's really nice. So let's just go through some of the stuff. Let's turn off the pitch right now. We'll keep the mod on. We're going to turn off the delay. The delay is actually kind of cool in this. Compressor is really neat too because you can put it in certain parts of the algorithm. And let's just turn up the time a little so we can do that. Let's turn it up. It gets a little long, but because of the modulation, the tails of the reverb just sound really lovely. And I like to turn the mix down just a little bit. Let's do that. Turn the mix to about 34. Maybe a little more mix. Maybe a little more mix. Let's give it a little more mix because it's ambient, right? Yeah, so I haven't seen a demo of the Ether plugin that really caters to my needs. There was a few of them out there, and they were kind of I'm not going to be like too nasty about it, but they were kind of obnoxious. They were more in the EDM style or more of like, techno, trancey electronic music. And I just think that this, the MPC, I'm using it. Okay. I don't think you can use a tool wrong in particular. I mean, yeah, obviously you can use, you know what I mean. I use the MPC as an ambient like toolbox and to do orchestral music, something that it was never really designed to do, but it can because a lot of the built-in instruments are really that good. And since you have sample playback, multi-sample playback, you can do cool things like that. And converting sound fonts, for example, or SNES samples over to the MPC is really fun to do. And then, you can use its effects to make some really lovely just, orchestral soundtracks. So I use it for that. So I'm just happy that Air Ether is finally actually usable compared to the other reverbs. I still use things like the microcosm. I used the microcosm on my last song, just overall coming from the outputs. And that's another thing. It's very flexible. That's what I like about hardware like this. You can just plug in external pedals with it being pretty easy without having to do like a send return thing you would in a DAW or something. Obviously you can do it in a DAW, but just use plugins in a DAW a lot. Well, there's not really anything much like the microcosm, but you know what I mean. So yeah, it's pretty gorgeous. So let's just mess with it a little bit. And I think the pitch is really nice. It does a really nice shimmer thing. You can do, obviously, that's just your standard detune. Let me turn it way up. And you have different modes for how the pitch algorithm works. We'll go through that. I'm going to turn this all the way up so you can hear how insane it can get. That's detune. And then you have different algorithms for that. You have like notes, so it like singles out notes. You have like bass. I guess it singles out bass, and you have percussion. And I like textures and chords, but we're going to turn this down because that's too much depth. Let's go down. Let's go back to textures, actually. That's a little gorgeous that way. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go into the mode, and we're actually going to choose, you can actually choose intervals, so we can do like fifths and things like that and full. Can you do full octaves? I don't know if you can. I guess you can do, yeah, you can do octave low, so that's a low octave. Pretty cool. I like it, and the pitch algorithm is pretty decent in it. And see, here's the thing that boggles my mind. It's like you can make a decent sounding reverb algorithm with not a lot of processing power. Hell, Walrus did it with the slower. The slower runs on a spin semiconductor, the FV1. I actually that boggled my mind. So you just have to write a good algorithm. It's like, I mean, I guess it is hard to do because nobody really does it. All right, so you can choose. Let's go ahead and do fifths. That's what I really like, especially with the textures. This is going to be awesome. turn the depth down so it's just kind of subtle. It just kind of floats there in the background. If we choose chords, that works really well for how I'm playing. See, it's nice and subtle. And okay, so let's go to the whole delay portion. So we're going to go into motion. I don't understand why the delay portion's in motion, but whatever. Turn this on. I'm not going to go through the animation. I don't like it. It's more of like a gating effect or like a tremolo or something. It's not my cup of tea, so I don't have a good way to demo it to make it sound decent, so I don't really want to. All right, so the delay can be done in multiple ways, and this is totally like separate from your pre-delay because you have pre-delay right there. But if you go into motion, you have a full delay, and you can set this to be like right before everything. So that's what it's set to by default. Let's turn it up. You'll hear that, and we'll turn up the time. So time is this knob, and you'll. Ping pong, you can kind of hear that. It does work really well, and it's nice, and it kind of melds into it. If I turn it all the way up, then you just get the reverb. I mean the delay. Obviously you can sync it to your beat too, but let's turn it to around here. But here what we can do is we can actually set it to be somewhere else. We can set it to be in the pitched section, so we can elongate the pitched section. It's really fun. Let's do that. Bring up some feedback. We can set also the amount of time. We can set a so you can hear the pitched right there. Isn't that neat? You can set the feedback. We're going to set it back to like about 500 milliseconds. We're going to set a lot more feedback. So feedback is here. Get the idea, but you can also stick it right in the reverb section itself, so we can get a much longer reverb even on top of the time we get. So and when I do that, then I usually turn the depth down here for the pitch shifting. Gorgeous, right? All right, and that's in the dense algorithm. I don't like too many of the other algorithms too much. They're a little too small for me, but I do like gritty. That gives you kind of like that old feel, like a lexicon, basically. So gritty, dense. It's subtle, but it's nice. And then we can go down here. You have a low pass filter and a high pass filter. I don't really touch the high pass filter all that much because I like to have like a very mellow reverb and not a harsh one. But yeah, we could do that. Let's just do that really quick. So you get a lot, and then with the high pass filter, let's just hear it really quick. So this is the high pass filter. So you can kind of notch it in that case, right? Yeah, and you can get quite like wild on that. Let me go back here. So let's set that back to 20 hertz so we don't get any filtering on the high pass. Let's go back here. So very powerful. Okay, so let's go to the modulation section. That's where this really sounds really nice. So let's turn off the mod. Pretty stagnant. Turn that on. Turn it way up. Oops, that's the stages. All right, let's turn up the speed. And of course, that's actually modulating the reverb line itself. So that's what I like. So let's do it right there. And stages, I think, sets how many LFO stages there are in it, or something along those lines. So yeah, let's just go to all inverses, I guess. You know, all INV is probably all inverse. All right. We'll keep those settings, and I'll just go through the different things since I said I'm just a fan of dense mainly and gritty. So gritty. We got loose. I guess loose is nice too. I should take that back. Roomy. I'm assuming what that does is it actually changes the pre-reverb ambience or whatever, the reflections, the early reflections more than likely. Got boxy, cramped, tiny. Maybe not. Maybe it changes the whole reverb space. I like dense. Turn off the delay really quick. And of course we have a compressor too, which is a compressor. You can change where the compressor sits by here. So I think it's right before the reverb line in this case. So if we go to motion, yeah, so routing, it routes it directly into the reverb. You can, and then you can do mix or side chaining. So you can kind of do a ducking reverb, but yeah. That's nice if you want super subtle, but then I bring up the mix. So if I'm using the compressor, I bring the mix down a little. But yeah, it's gorgeous. All right, well, that's basically Air Ether. So a while ago, I did, when they had the last sale, it was like last year or something, I did buy the Akai or the Air Effects flavor. And it sounds actually really cool after the reverb, so let's just check that really quick. I always forget where the hell it is, so let's go over to the mix button. Let's go here, and I think it's under modulation, but maybe not. So let's collapse that. Let's go to modulation. Maybe it's not. It is flavor. Maybe it's... Okay. You know, I don't know where it ever sits. It's like a multi-effect, so maybe it's under EQ and filter. You know how we're going to do it? We're going to do it this way. We're going to go not by type. We're going to go by manufacturer. We're going to go to Air. We're going to find Air Flavor. Well, we want Flavor Pro. Flavor is built in. It's not very flavorful, but Flavor Pro has a whole bunch of more options. So now we have Air Ether going into Air Flavor Pro. So if we go here and... Yeah, so let's just do this. I think the Akai ST1, or is that an ST1? Yeah, that's a reel-to-reel deck, I think. So we'll just do, we'll just go with that. So has the vinyl effect. But yeah, we have a lot of cool effects. So let's go ahead and turn off all the effects really quick. I think we do have one more. Oh no, I guess there's some kind of EQing happening. Oh, we have a filter. Ha. Okay, so now what we can do is we can go in and add a few things to this. So volume is nice. You can kind of do warped vinyl style dropouts on this. So let's turn on volume. We can add a little bit of drift effect on there. So start the drift there, end it there. It's like the slow versus fast, I guess. Can add a little bit of vinyl too. It's a little too much noise. Oh, that's way too much noise. Let's add less pops and clicks, a little bit of crackle. I mean, I guess that's a little too much, but we could add a little bit of, where is it? It's not digital. It is pitch, I believe. So let's go back out. Oops. So Flavor Pro, blend. Yeah, it's the pitch control. So where the hell is pitch? Oh, there it is. There we go. Pitch. Gives you wow and flutter. Let's take out the dropouts right now. Can even add distortion. A little bit of low filtering. Yeah, so you get the idea. There's a lot of fun to do with that. I can change the varying up there. Timbre lets you set like a, almost like a cab sim. Oh, there we go. We go in here and then we can chat it. So studio, let's do medium. It's kind of like, it's not really a cab sim, I guess. It's more like just an EQ. All right. Well, anyway, so that's basically Air Ether, and that's Air Flavor Pro to some degree. I'm not going to go too much more over that, but yeah, I think Air Ether really fixes a lot of problems with the other reverbs that are available on the MPC. And if it's really just an all-together instrument that you want to use with no external effects, I highly recommend you get Air Ether, at least for the $30 that it is on sale. I don't know if it's really worth $100. It does seem to go on sale quite often, so I don't know if $30 is going to be like the bare minimum that it'll ever go this year, but maybe, grab it now if it sounds good to you. And I should say I'm not getting paid. I actually had to pay for that with my own money, but I wanted a good reverb to have, not to use in a studio context where I'm actually going to use it and punch it out to a finished piece, but more so I have an idea of what something's going to sound like without having to bring out a bunch of pedals. And then maybe I can bring out some nicer sounding pedals. Obviously, practically all of my reverb pedals still sound better. I don't think of one pedal that I personally own anymore that has a worse reverb than Air Ether. So, I mean, they're not even on. I would say every pedal I have is a little better than Air Ether, but it's not as bad as things like let's say a Hall of Fame or something like that. It's way better than a Hall of Fame reverb, or even some earlier, just other, like I don't remember the Digitech one, but like pedals like that. So it's better than those, but it's not as good as, like, let's say a Big Sky MX or the Erica Synths Night Verb and things like that. The Night Verbs still are magical. It's still a magical reverb algorithm altogether. And obviously it's not going to do things like the microcosm. It kind of does a little pitchy stuff, but not the granular stuff. So, I mean, there is a granular algorithm that's actually built into the Akai software, the MPC software, but yeah, maybe we'll explore that in a different video. I don't even know how well this video is going to do because I know most of my audience isn't really into the MPC ecosystem, but I just thought it was cool. I just wanted to share it because I was actually thrilled with how decent it sounded for a reverb algorithm inside of a keyboard. I think it's probably now the second best sounding reverb I've heard in a actual like hardware device. I mean, it's software obviously running on hardware, but yeah. So right now is the Summit/Peak is number 1 for reverb. You just can't do better than those in hardware from what I've ever owned. Then I think the MPC with Ether is Air Ether, I should say, is probably your second. And then your third on that list is the Korg R&D synths, except for the Op6. The Op6 has the ghastly reverb that's kind of like you find on the Minilog XD and so forth like that. It's not very good. It's not designed to be big and ambient. I think you waste so much processing power on the I should say it's definitely an excellent FM engine, and yeah. I should mention, I don't know if I mentioned it already, but I did end up selling my Op6, and I use the MPC now for that. Somebody actually asked about that really recently on a video that I commented on. So, yeah, that's that. I guess we'll stop here. If that was a little bit enjoyable, I just wanted to do something quick that I knew would get some views and maybe somebody interested in that. I would say, yeah, check out the sale for the Akai stuff right now, since, yeah, it's probably the best time to get it when it's cheap. I would never pay $700 for fabric and all that stuff or the MPC collection, but for $100, absolutely. And I've already gotten used to it out of songs and everything. So, yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up on the video. And if you haven't subscribed and you like this kind of content format, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you next time. And I think next time we might bring out the multi-poly or the Summit again. So, yeah. All right. Bye.